morning, everyone, and welcome to the June 15th Post Falls Urban Renewal Agency meeting. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask for a roll call from our Executive Director.
Thank you, Chairman. Jonas?
Here.
Fleshman?
Here.
Crosby?
Here.
Baltzell?
Here.
Davis?
Here.
And we have been informed that Commissioners Coles and Clemenson will be absent this morning.
Right, very good. We still have a quorum, so we're doing good. And Commissioner Davis has agreed to lead the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you all please rise?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, again, welcome everyone. We'll start working through the agenda. The next item is ceremonies, appointments, and announcements, and I'm not aware of anything to bring up today, but I would like to mention to the commissioners that if you know an announcement or something wonderful's happened or whatever to you or to somebody you know having to do with urban renewal, if you'd let me know, we'll make sure that that gets noted in the opening comments. Okay, conflict disclosure. Is anyone on the dais today have any conflicts with anything on the agenda?
No.
Okay, very good, thank you. Next is the consent calendar.
Chairman, Commissioners, good morning. Item A in the consent calendar is the Commission meeting minutes of April 20th, 2023. Item B is the District Review Committee meeting minutes, April 20th, 2023. Item C is the Commission workshop minutes, May 2nd, 2023. Item D is the Communication, Property, and Personnel Committee meeting minutes, May 30th, 2023. Item E is the payables for this month, totaling $6,286.65. Item F is the bank activity report, which shows total funds in all accounts of $2,844,822.37 and accrued interest for the month of $6,939.84. Item G is the financial reports as of May 31st. Approval of the consent calendar will authorize a transfer of $6,286.65 to the First Interstate checking account for the monthly payables and $6,939.84 accrued interest to the general fund. Additionally, with regards to the canceled May Commission meeting, the April financial statements were reviewed by Commissioner Fleshman, and the May payables were reviewed by Treasurer Crosby on May 15th. On May 17th, checks totaling $7,160.22 were posted. I make the statement just to for the purposes of ratifying of those actions. Mr. Chairman, I'd answer any questions.
Any questions on the consent calendar? No? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve.
I would move the approval of the consent calendar.
I'll second.
Second. Any further discussion? Okay, that would take a individual vote, so
Roll call vote?
roll call vote. Yep.
Davis?
Aye.
Crosby?
Aye.
Fleshman?
Aye.
Cheltness?
Aye.
Baltzell?
Aye. Motion carried. I would just like to make a comment before we move forward on the agenda, having to do with the minutes of our meetings, like the workshops and committee meetings as well. They're very well done, very informative, and I think you guys are doing a great job for those of you that are doing those minutes. And there's a lot in there, and they're usually well put together, and I can easily understand them. So anyway, good job on that, and appreciate it. Committee updates, Finance and Policy, Commissioner Crosby.
As the Executive Director mentioned, we reviewed the May financials. We also reviewed the April financials. We had a 2.5-hour meeting yesterday on budget, and we believe that we're at a position where we can recommend a budget, which will be presented, I think, at a workshop.
Yes, July 11th.
In July, and then we will move forward with the budget approval in either July or August.
Yes, the budget workshop will be July 11th, and the budget hearing will be at the August commission meeting.
Then the workshop will be held over at the Chamber Building at 9 o'clock. Great. Okay, thank you. Mr. Coles, does anybody have anything to share from District Review Committee?
There's nothing to report.
Pardon?
There's nothing to report from District Review.
Okay, thank you. Communication, Property, and Personnel.
Yes, so you can see from the consent agenda that we met on May 30th to make our recommendations to the Finance Committee for line items having to do with property, personnel, and communications.
Excellent. Very good. Thank you. Any questions for any of the committee, on the committee reports? Okay, item number 6 is citizen comments. This section of the agenda is reserved for citizens wishing to address the commission regarding an agency-related issue. Comments related to future public hearings should be held for that public hearing. Persons wishing to speak will have 5 minutes. Do we have anyone that, other than our main speaker today? If not, we'll move forward. Is there any unfinished business? Not aware of any.
No, Chairman, there is not any unfinished business.
Okay, very good. New business would be a project update on the Post Falls Technology District. Mr. Decker, are you prepared to speak to us? I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm happy to speak for a minute or two.
Would you mind coming up here and state your name and address? Good to see you.
Hi, nice to see you guys. Good
Welcome.
morning. My name is Jerry Dicker, 1106 West 9th, Spokane, Washington. The project is moving along, I think, at this point. We've cooperated with Jacqueline Land to build the sewer that will hook up to the school that's being built. We advanced the money to do that under their contract. So our utilities, if you go there, you probably see utilities being done. The next step in the project is to sign the final construction improvement agreement, and that's being held up a bit because our engineer has not been able to finish the plans for the Zoros Road roundabout. We were able to sign agreements with Jacqueline and NIP on the other two corners, where they'll contribute some money towards the roundabout. We're trying to build a roundabout at the same time as the Finicus roundabout is built, but Finicus is ahead of us. So we've tried to figure out, is there a way to get us to allow us to build the roundabout even without the plans being finalized, to start the bids and start some of the construction, because the plans are conceptualized but not finally drawn elevations and things. The engineers promised that they would get the plans done in June, which is where we are now. If they succeed, everyone's very busy is one of the problems. If they succeed, then maybe we can catch up and build the roundabout at the same time. The benefit of building the roundabout at the same time is it's less expensive, and also we close down Prairie Road only once. We're not looking forward to closing down Prairie Road. Our tenants won't start construction until we've at least started construction on the roundabout, because they don't want to open for business and then have the roundabout coming on. So we're kind of in a catch-22. So we're doing what we can. We were able to expedite all the utilities by advancing the money to Jacqueline, who already had a signed construction agreement, and we added those utilities to their agreement, and we paid them the cash to do the work. So All of that is extraordinary, but it allowed us to possibly keep on schedule to build the shopping center in April 2024 and build the utilities this year. So we're still, if you go there, you'll see the utilities, what has to be built is the roundabout and basically Zoros Road and Stone Road. We've explained to the city that we would like, if we're building a public road on Stone Road, we would like Jacqueline to build a public road going east to Finicus. That hasn't been resolved, but we'll have to go forward before that's resolved, apparently. So our next step is trying to build the Zoros Road and the roundabout. Everything else is kind of moving along. The tenants are anxious to start construction. If we fail on that, then probably construction will start in April 2025. We'd rather do it early, obviously. The technology park, the Douglas group is still working with the city. We're trying to build, we don't have much involvement there yet, but we're trying to build Cecil Road, but we can't build Cecil Road until Douglas, Ross, Waterpoint, and the city get their things together. But we have our money's in escrow to build Cecil Road, and we'd like to build it right away, really for the same reason, get our work done. So I would say this is me being positive, because I'm usually pretty cautious. I think there's a reasonable chance we can get the roundabout built this year. We should, if the engineers get their things done, we can do it. So we're doing everything we can to support the engineers. So that's where we are. Things are going, I would say, optimistically, guardedly, pretty well. You know, every morning you wake up and there's some other problem that you're dealing with. But we've probably spent over $2 million cash to expedite the project. All the construction work on the site has been done for cash, since we don't have final agreements, so we don't have final bonds. So we're probably maybe a third to 40% done with utilities. It's really the roads now, and it'll be a very nice project. I believe you'll be happy with the project.
Okay. I have a couple questions. If anybody else, you're welcome. Regarding the roundabout at Sorrells Road, that's been on the discussion drawing board for a couple of years now, it seems like, or at least a year.
At least a year.
And I was just wondering, you said that you're trying to get something finalized as engineering, or?
Everything's at the engineers. We try to figure out, could we sign the final construction improvement agreement with just a sketchy roundabout, but everyone seems to want it fully drawn, and the engineering is tough. The Finicus roundabout is going to be very similar to the Zoros roundabout, but there's technical things like grades and that kind of stuff. That's what they're designing. The general roundabout has been designed, and we would like to do it as fast as possible, because we can have one contractor do two roundabouts.
Of course.
It's going to save us money, and also it saves us dealing with Prairie Road twice. So we're all about doing it. If we could get some sort of an agreement to let us start, we could probably catch up. Originally, the roundabout, the negotiations, as I understand it, was for Arcatera to do the roundabout, and finally it landed on us somehow. It's like, you know, the bottle that you spin around. So finally it landed on us, and it was originally thought that the roundabout wouldn't delay us in any way, and so we said, okay, if the roundabout doesn't delay us, then we'll do the roundabout just to get this thing done. And then we had to negotiate separately. We tried to get what they call a future agreement, where you do the roundabout and then the other owners eventually contribute. We couldn't get that. The city said, no, we should negotiate with the owners ourselves. So we helped I think the southeast corner, we had restrictions on that property. We gave up restrictions so the buyer could buy that property and ultimately develop that property. So that property has changed hands. I'm under an NDA. You may know what's happening on the property, but I'm not supposed to say, but it should be a substantial development that's beneficial to the city, with well-known companies from North Idaho. So we worked with them to get that going, and then we worked with Jacqueline to get a contribution agreement from Jacqueline for the roundabout. We advanced the money for everyone, and then we see where we are, and up to a certain amount they're willing to contribute. So all of that had to be done before we do the roundabout. Because if we didn't get contribution, we were just going to say, okay, do the roundabout in 3 years. We're not going to do this. But we were able to get Jacqueline and NIP's successor, basically, to cooperate and to see, it's to everyone's benefit, including the cities, but it's 100% beneficial to everyone to get the roundabout built. But then it got, after all of that, it got turned over to the engineers, who are busy and I think understaffed. So we're in constant contact with the engineers. Have you done it? Have you done it? When can we get this in? And they've done preliminary. I mean, there should be a way maybe to get it done while they're finishing the work, but under the system, you got to finish the work to sign the construction agreement and to bond it correctly. We have the Finicus bids, which should be very similar, if we can go at the same time, very similar to Argonne, to the Zoros. So we pretty well know that right now, the roundabout is probably $1.5 million or less, hopefully less, but it's substantial. And then Zoros, so we probably have about $3 million more of construction out of $5 million to do. So I think the city and us are just waiting for the final roundabout plans. So fingers crossed they come in. They're promised to be in like 10 days. So if they come in, I believe our agreement is negotiated with the city except for the roundabout. Yeah, I think we're done with the city except for the roundabout plans. Oh, I'm sorry, for the roundabout plans and the bonds. So we have to put all that together, but it's really the roundabout plans. We're just kind of waiting. We're starting plans on some of our buildings now on the theory, with a little bit of luck, we can maybe start in April of 2024.
Okay. You've spoken to the engineers recently, and they gave you a timetable of 10 days? Is that what I
They
heard?
promised me they'd get the final plans in by the end of June. I don't know, that's
Well, let's
15 days, yeah.
Let's hope that would be the case.
Yeah, and there are local engineers, they're just busy. Gordon Dobler used to be the engineer for Coeur d'Alene, working, so he's the main guy, and he admits he's very busy.
Yeah.
And we say, well, why did you take on these other projects? It's just the usual conversation. The Finicus roundabout engineer has been helpful. They've given us their plans, but you have elevation changes and things like that. You know, you have to get all the details. Otherwise, we're actually ready.
Once the plans are done, I'm assuming the city has to review them, or are there any other entities that have, like
No, it's the city.
ITD or
No ITD,
State Highway? No?
no state highway, it's on Prairie. It's just the city.
City, yeah.
And I think it's to their benefit, too, to expedite everything, but they have to go, the city has a lot of procedures that they go through that kind of slows things down. But having said that, I think all of the interests are aligned. I don't know why the city would want to shut down Prairie twice. That's going to be, that's a busy street.
I don't either.
Yeah, so that's if there's a way to expedite, we're ready. I mean, we've been expediting by putting up cash for everything, and even giving it to Jacqueline to do their thing. So I believe the sewers, we're bringing the sewers to Zoros Road. Jeff, do you know where, I know we're doing it. Is that done yet? Yeah, so we've already bought the brought the sewer to Zoros Road so Jacqueline can hook up to that sewer. So that enables the school to open when they want to open, if they can.
Sure.
We got that out of the way, so, and Finicus will be done when the school opens. So to trying to help them, it's a charter school, trying to help them get their stuff done has expedited the project. And I think we've done everything we can to expedite that project. It just seems sensible to us.
Could I ask you where the school's actually located physically?
Yeah, it's to the, so if you go there, you'll see the school. It's on Prairie Road, east of our 50 acres. I think it's on, maybe on the east side of Finicus or just on the west side. It's right around Finicus. And Finicus is the next street after Zoros.
Okay.
Finicus Road has been 80% built.
Yes.
Yeah, you just, they have
Just not
to do
connected.
the roundabout and connect it to the road, and they're done.
I have one other quick question, and then we'll see if anybody else.
Sure.
has one. And that is, on the tech park, can you give us an overview, refresh our memories relative to, I guess it's the Douglas family is
Yes.
with you on that, and what exactly they are going to be putting in there?
I have to meet with Douglas to see what their latest plans are. The Douglas plans, they're going slowly, but they're saying everything they're doing is in conjunction with the city planners. So I'm not, I mean, I have to meet with them to find out where they are with the city plans, but that's largely tech. There's some residential there, and we've tried to get them, because we would like to build Cecil Road and be done on that side, and Cecil Road is beneficial to the city and beneficial to Douglas, but Cecil Road can't be built unless we've applied for building permits, and Ross Point Water has said they won't approve anything until they've got the tower land from Douglas. The tower land from Douglas, Douglas says they'll give it to the city, to Ross Point, when they have their plans approved. So we're in a catch-22 there. We think Ross Point is wrong. We think Douglas is wrong. I've asked the courts to give me declaratory relief that we can build our Cecil Road without Ross Point, because Cecil Road has nothing to do with industrial, and Ross Point's document has to deal with industrial. So that's in the courts. The reason we want to get it built into whatever today's construction costs are, not 3 years from now. We have $2 million in escrow. We can't even put it into treasuries. So we have $2 million sitting there for no reason, except Douglas, the city, and Ross Point can't figure out what the solution is.
Okay.
But I'm guessing the solution's coming.
Okay.
So that's where we are there.
But on the Douglas,
Douglas is apparently negotiating with the city on site plans.
okay. And it's industrial or?
Well, it's going to be largely industrial. I don't know what their plans are. We have to meet with them. We're basically a third party now with money to help build the infrastructure, which we would like to build because of the URD. The faster everything gets built, the faster there's a chance of recouping. Our public improvements are probably $5 million. The other public improvements are probably $40 or $50 million. So the faster things are built, the faster everyone gets recovery. So we're, we don't want to sacrifice the project, but basically going forward is good for us. I mean, us as a company,
Sure.
as well as I think the community too.
Anyone else have any questions or comments? Okay.
Chairman, I do have one question, and that's simply one of the requirements or agency policies with regards to proponents in a district has to do with when there's another developer coming to terms with them in terms of the assignment of tax increment, that kind of thing. Is that one of the aspects of your engagement with Douglas Properties, is completing that task?
I'm not sure exactly what the question is, but we're the people, we will assign whatever, with your consent, with the URD's consent, at some point there'll be a document that covers the URD stuff. We're in good faith with Douglas and everyone, so we know what our deal is. We get reimbursed from the URD for the shopping center, which should go first. I see no reason why we won't be done. Douglas has a much bigger project with more diverse uses. We'll be done we should be done long before Douglas. And the shopping center really probably will be well on its way to being reimbursed. And then once that's all set up, we will meet with the, so right now, we're the only one you're dealing with. We'll meet with the URD and say, okay, we're done or almost done. How do you want to handle the rest of this? But we don't expect to get any reimbursement from the west side of the road unless we put a public improvement in there, in which case we'll have to have an agreement with the URD and Douglas.
Thank you.
Okay. And, any other questions or comments? Any closing remarks or anything? If not,
No, I think we're making good progress.
appreciate you taking the
We'd like
time
to go
come and
faster.
come and give us an update is important, and we appreciate you guys doing that.
I'm happy to come back anytime you want, and I think as soon as we get the document signed with the city, we'd come back and we could give you times and everything. We have contractors standing by to do the work. So probably the same contractor who does Finicus is going to do our roundabout. So fingers crossed we can get them to be done at the same time.
That would be good.
Feel free to call Gordon if you know him. Say,
Pardon?
feel free to call Gordon Dobler if you want. He won't like it. Yeah, we're trying to encourage him to get whatever help he needs to get it done.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. Appreciate your time for us. Thank you. Okay, staff report and updates.
Just a couple of items, Chairman, Commissioner. The Centerpoint press release was submitted to local news outlets on June 1st, 2023. I've yet to date to see anything on that, so I will be contacting a couple of individuals representing media and see if we can move that forward. With regards to office operations, per-se contribution amounts have been updated effective for July 1st. The employer contribution rate is reducing from 11.94% to 11.18%, and the employee contribution rate is going down from 7.16 to 6.71%. I just wanted to include that. It's timely with the budget process. And then just to inform you, I'm scheduled to be out of the office from June 27th to the 27th as vacation days, but I will monitor email just in case.
What were the dates again, please?
June 26th and 27th.
26 and 27. Okay, very good. All right, thank you very much. Any commissioner comments?
I would make, it was good to get a positive report from Mr. Decker. We appreciate that. I was wondering if Mr. Seal has any additional information he might be able to add to help us clarify what's going on with the Douglas portion of that district?
Probably not a lot. Douglas is still in the works, working on their sewer study and the traffic study redesign. Any uses that Douglas puts on the site would have to be in conformance with the zone that's there. What is it? Probably about 4/5 of the site is tech park zoning, so they'd have to meet those zones. There's some that's CCS. along the highway there.
Yeah, that was negotiated with the city council at the time the district was created.
Right. So you've got a couple of
limitation on multifamily.
Yeah. The limitation on the multifamily is in relation to the tech park zoning, and that's all on that other side of the future Cecil Road. But they're still working on trying to figure out alternatives for the sewer options that they have, because they are looking at having higher intensity uses than was originally proposed when Phil Worth came in with his proposal. Higher intensity being that what Phil Worth's proposal included was a reuse of the water, I believe with an energy production system up there somehow or another. But since that all kind of went by the wayside and didn't happen, the wastewater is likely to be in excess of what was planned for. So our engineering division, as well as the wastewater folks with Public Works, have been in conversation and working with Keller and the Douglas Group to kind of sort through how that future looks. So, and yes, we are waiting on a roundabout design, which according to last week, Doler said it would be 3 weeks out, but I understand Doler said that 3 months ago too. So not sure where that's at. And the Fennicus roundabout is moving forward. That's just outside the district. So
There appeared to be some work done or being done on the Douglas site. Is that Ross Point, or is that?
That was Douglas. They got a permit to do some mass grading.
Okay.
And it's a massive site, so you see some massive vehicles and some massive grading. But yeah, it's kind of what they started on. So,
Thank you. I appreciate that update.
Yeah,
not a problem.
thank you very much, Bob. Appreciate it. Okay, anybody else, commissioners? If not, I would be next, and I don't have anything additional to contribute at this time. I appreciate everybody coming and being here today, and we'll look forward to for meetings in July and see where they all go. So with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We are adjourned. Thank you all.